The only thing, so I'm thinking like, according to like Ajahn Brahm, right? He says,
And he's a scholar of the English language, and he's a scholar of Pali, and he's a contemplative and he's a mystic. Now, I'll buy that he's a contemplative, and I'll buy that he's a mystic, but there's nothing in his writing that suggests he really understands the subtle nuances of the English language.
well, I mean, he's college educated, so you can assume, and he's a native speaker of English, so you can assume
Good point,
he has,
but his
has
writing
good,
does not reflect somebody who understands the subtle nuances. I've got an English degree and I'm a poet. I think I qualify as somebody who understands the subtle nuances of the English language. Bhikkhu Bodhi does not represent somebody who understands the subtle nuances of the English language or the mystical experience, and I don't think Bhikkhu Bodhi or Brahm represents somebody who understands the subtle nuances either.
even though that might be, but it's like what we were talking about, someone who's tasted an apple,
Okay.
right? So I think he has tasted the jhanic apple.
Okay.
So, you know, he can say like, yeah, I know what sweet is. This is like sweet. There's sweetness present. Once you get to the core, it's bitter. You know, the seeds, don't eat them. They're not good.
Right.
So,
but on the other hand, Brahm does not even consider anything valid until a luminous sphere appears on the scene, or at least that's the way he originally described it.
Right.
And he originally said there were no sensory phenomena present when the first jhana arrived on the scene. So as far as I'm concerned, it's like, okay, well, he doesn't know anything about what happens before the immaterial phase because he's not paying attention to it.
It doesn't, like, yeah, you know, I can't agree with that. I don't think that's right.
Well, all I have to do is refer people to his writing. That in his writing, he's consistently said, if jhana is non-sensory, no senses present during jhana.
He does say that, that's true.
There you go, I rest my case.
But, well, he talks about two stages that he teaches prior to entering jhana.
And he calls that access concentration, which is from the Visuddhimagga. It's not from the Sutta Pitaka at all. It's commentary.
I'm not sure if he calls it access concentration, but he does say, right, he teaches
I studied his work.
Present moment awareness and silent present moment awareness.
Okay.
And he thinks that there is, right, he says that if there's delight or whatever present, he says that it's there, but until it intensifies to the point that, you know, either luminous sphere or a blissful feeling of the mind, that's not based on the senses, it's based only on the mind. Until that arises, it's not jhana.
Well,
his definition.
I think we can dispense with all of that and just say that Brahm says that jhana does not arise as long as the senses are present, as long as somebody's aware of the physical senses. The physical senses have to be completely effaced before the first jhana arises. That's what he said numerous times. Okay, so I can rest my case on that, and we don't need to take it any further than that. We can look at the Samanapala Sutta, though, and in each case, kaya, the term kaya appears in every stanza that describes the four jhanas. And it talks about how the body is saturated and suffused with piti and sukha, bliss and joy. So, you know, I can rest my case on the suttas, a sutta quote that specifically refers to physical pleasure in the body during meditation.
In fairness to Ajahn Brahm in his absence, though, he does mention that. He says that kaya in that instance refers to the breath body. That the Buddha says the breath he considers the breath a body among the bodies.
Well, guess what? It's not in that sutta. It just says kaya. It doesn't say breath body. It doesn't say pana kaya. It just says kaya. So,
well, in my experience, there is body awareness.
Right. Thank you.
During jhana. So
that's the point. Is that there's physical senses present in me during the first four jhanas, and they're physical, and you just admitted that there's physical senses present when you're experiencing pleasant bodily sensations
But
as
not-
a product
but not
of
always.
meditation.
I have had also ecstatic. I've had like an ecstatic experience where there is no sensory information at all.
Well, I have too. There's 8 samadhi states. Okay, so there's 8 samadhi states. The first 4, let me just back up, roll the tape back. Let's dump Buddhism. Let's decide that all Buddhist priests are deluded, have no idea what they're talking about. Let's look at another religion that's similar, right? Uses similar terminology, right? And it gets, guess what? We'll look at Hinduism and the Yoga Sutras. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And he describes samadhi as well. So he's describing a term, samadhi, same term the Buddha's describing, right? And he even uses vitaka and vikara. And he uses numerous other terms similar to the Buddha. Now he describes 2 basic phases of samadhi. One is vitaka, or vikalpa samadhi and nirvikalpa samadhi are the 2 samadhis he talks about. Now the thing, vikalpa means some kind of cognitive thing. I don't think that Sanskrit translators really quite understand the subtle nuances of what vikalpa means. But it suggests to me that there's some kind of cognitive element present during vikalpa samadhi. And nirvikalpa samadhi, nir means no. So there's some cognitive element that's not present during another phase of samadhi. Okay? And now I believe what they're trying to get at with vikalpa samadhi and nirvikalpa samadhi is the same idea that is present in the Visuddhimagga, is that there's a rupa jhana, or a rupa samadhi, and arupa samadhi, right? So rupa means material samadhi. That's what the commentaries talk about. The 4 jhanas, the commentary says, are rupa samadhi, material samadhi. And then the ayatanas, the 4 ayatanas, samadhi states, the commentary calls it arupa, meaning non-material. And I think that material versus non-material is a reflection of that vikalpa samadhi versus nirvikalpa samadhi that Patanjali's talking about. So what I'm trying to get at is that there are ecstatic altered states of consciousness that appear prior to the loss of the senses. And once we've lost our senses, now we've moved into an immaterial domain, so that we're no longer aware of our physical senses. Now I've been accused of being jhana light, whereas Ajahn Brahm is jhana heavy, because his 8 samadhi states begin when all senses are gone. Now the problem I have there is first of all, how do you break up the immaterial altered states of consciousness into 8 phases? Now I can break it up into 4, but not 8. Secondly, I can still my mind and still be aware of the senses. Can you?